Imagine this. A man in his 50s, once full of energy and laughter, suddenly wakes up one morning unable to move his right side or say a single word. A stroke, the doctors said. His family stood around his hospital bed, silent and terrified. They were told he might never speak again. But months later, something incredible happened. In a quiet therapy room, the man looked at his therapist, took a deep breath, and said, slowly but clearly, "I'm back." That, my friend, is not magic. It's the brain healing itself. And today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating truths about the human body: how the brain can repair, rewire, and even rebuild itself after injury, stroke, or diseases like Alzheimer's. Along the way, we'll hear real stories of people who beat the odds, proof that the brain is far more powerful than we've ever imagined. For a long time, scientists believed that once the brain was damaged, it was game over. That neurons, the brain's nerve cells, were fixed and unchangeable. You lose them and they're gone forever. But in the last decades, a revolution has reshaped that belief. We now know the brain is plastic, not like the material plastic, but in the sense that it's malleable. It changes, adapts, and grows. The scientific term for this is neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Let's break that down in a simple way. Imagine the brain as a massive city filled with billions of roads, neurons, and every thought, movement, or memory is a car driving on those roads. When one road is damaged, the brain doesn't just stop. It finds detours, builds new bridges, and reroutes the traffic to keep things moving. That's neuroplasticity. Take the story of Kathy Hutchinson. She was left completely paralyzed after a stroke. For years, she couldn't move or speak. But through a groundbreaking experiment at Brown University, scientists implanted a tiny chip into her brain. Using only her thoughts, Kathy learned to control a robotic arm. She couldn't lift her own hand, but she could lift a cup with a robotic arm and take a sip of coffee. For her, it wasn't just coffee. It was hope made real. Or think about Alvaro Pascual Leon, a neuroscientist who discovered something amazing while studying blind people. When blind participants read Braille with their fingers, the part of the brain responsible for vision, the visual cortex, lit up. Their brains had rewired themselves, using the sight area to process touch. The brain doesn't waste space, it repurposes it. That's how powerful it is. Now let's talk about Alzheimer's. It's a disease that slowly erases memory, steals identity, and breaks hearts. But even here, the story isn't entirely dark. Recent research shows that certain activities, like learning a new language, dancing, or playing an instrument, can actually build new neural connections and strengthen the brain against decline. Think of it as giving your brain a workout. When you challenge it, it grows stronger. Take Maria, for example, a retired teacher from Spain. After being diagnosed with early Alzheimer's, she began painting every day, something she'd never done before. Within months, her doctors noticed her memory tests improving. Her brain scans showed more activity in areas linked to creativity and emotion. Painting didn't cure her, but it helped her brain fight back. You see, neuroplasticity isn't just for recovery after trauma. It's something we all can use. Every time you learn a new skill, memorize a poem, or even take a new route to work, your brain changes. It grows new synapses, tiny connections that make you sharper, faster, more resilient. The brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But what actually makes the brain heal? Let's look inside the magic. When neurons fire together repeatedly, like when you practice a skill, those connections strengthen. That's why repetition is key to learning. Neurons that fire together wire together. On the other hand, when you stop using certain connections, they weaken or disappear. Use it or lose it. So when someone suffers a stroke and loses the ability to speak, What therapists do is help the brain relearn speech by activating alternative pathways. Through speech therapy, repetition, and visual cues, other regions of the brain take over the lost function. It's not instant. It takes weeks, months, even years, but it works. Let's return to the story of the man we met at the start. His name is David. After his stroke, he couldn't form a single sentence, but his therapist used rhythm and music to help him. They would sing simple phrases together. Singing activates the right side of the brain, while speech mostly uses the left. So by singing, David's right hemisphere learned to help him talk again. Music literally rewired his brain. And this doesn't stop at strokes. Soldiers with brain injuries, kids with learning difficulties, and people recovering from trauma all can tap into this power. One veteran, Mark, who suffered from a traumatic brain injury in Afghanistan, used virtual reality games as therapy. By moving his hands, solving puzzles, and navigating 3D environments, his coordination and memory improved drastically. Games weren't just games, they were medicine. Now, you might be wondering, if the brain is this powerful, why doesn't it heal everything automatically? The truth is, neuroplasticity is a double-edged sword. The brain can strengthen bad habits just as easily as good ones. Constant stress, negative thinking, or addiction can rewire the brain too, just in harmful ways. That's why mindfulness, gratitude, and positive learning are more than just buzzwords. They are ways of guiding your brain toward healing, not harm. Science even shows that belief itself changes the brain. In one study, stroke patients who believed they could recover actually showed faster physical improvement and stronger brain activity in scans. Hope literally changed their neurons. It's proof that mindset isn't just in your head, it's shaping your brain chemistry. Let's talk about something extraordinary. The adult brain can grow new neurons. For decades, scientists thought neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, stopped after childhood. But researchers discovered that in the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, new neurons continue to grow even in old age. Exercise, good sleep, and curiosity stimulate this growth. Every time you walk, laugh, or learn, you might be creating new brain cells. Imagine that. So, how can you help your brain heal and thrive? Here are a few ways backed by science, no fancy gadgets required. Stay curious. Learn a new skill. Pick up an instrument or explore a new language. Challenge keeps your brain alive. Move your body. Exercise increases blood flow and releases growth factors that help new neurons form. Sleep deeply. During sleep, your brain cleans out toxins and consolidates memories. Eat smart. Omega-3 fats, berries, and green vegetables feed your neurons. And finally, connect with people. Social bonds release oxytocin and serotonin, powerful chemicals that protect and nourish a brain. Let me tell you about Tom, a man diagnosed with early Parkinson's. Instead of giving up, he joined a boxing club for patients with Parkinson's. The movements, rhythm, and coordination exercises helped retrain his brain's motor system. A year later, he was stronger, more confident, and his symptoms slowed dramatically. He said, "I thought I was fighting the disease, but really I was teaching my brain to fight for me." When you think about it, your brain is the ultimate storyteller. It records every joy, pain, and lesson, and it never stops rewriting itself. Whether you've suffered a stroke, face memory loss, or just feel stuck in life, remember this: you are not fixed. Every thought, every choice, every challenge is a chance to reshape your mind. So the next time you doubt your potential, think of David singing his first words again, of Kathy lifting that coffee cup, of Maria painting her memories back to life. The brain that heals itself isn't a myth. It's you, me, all of us. Because inside your skull lies not just an organ, but a universe that never stops growing. And as long as you're alive, your brain is listening, learning, and waiting for your next command. So go ahead, Learn something new. Dream again. Challenge your mind, because your brain, quite literally, is built to heal and to make miracles happen.